if it's not, if he's not in Australia, then it feels like my idea is still possibility of The Rock involving himself to put Cody into. Did I tell you about that? I didn't tell you about that.
No.
Okay, so Mom, one theory, and I don't have all the kinks worked out, this just came to my mind, okay,
Love it.
was that if we're going to assume, or if we're going to say in this situation, Cody does not win the Royal Rumble, and whoever does picks Seth. So in this case, obviously, we assume it's going to be CM Punk because whatever. So if that's the case, it can either be a really close call, like what we were saying about maybe two of them being out at the same time, or maybe someone interferes and gets Cody out, like maybe Jimmy or Solo or whatever, to like reignite the feud with the bloodline, which then makes it easier to transition into this. Then we can have Nick Aldis talk about, okay, you're going to be at Elimination Chamber, or so and so. Let's say the match at Rumble for the title doesn't end cleanly either. Roman gets help to defeat AJ Styles, Randy Orton, and LA Knight. So it's like a double whammy, just like too much shenanigans from the bloodline at the Royal Rumble. Then we can see Nick Aldis get involved and say, okay, we're having an Elimination Chamber match. Maybe Roman doesn't even have to be in it. I don't know. And then maybe The Rock says, I'm going to be in it, or people think that The Rock is going to be in it. And he either fights on behalf of Cody and says, okay, if I win, you have to face Cody at WrestleMania, because then that gets him out of facing him at Mania, and gets him out of facing Roman for the title, because The Rock versus Roman Reigns, not for the title, is not happening. Like, even if we say it doesn't make sense, which it doesn't make sense, they're not going to put him in a match and it not be for the title. But then how believable is it that Roman beats The Rock? Like, that's not happening. So I feel like that would be the coolest way to be, like, even if they try to hype it like, oh, it's gonna be The Rock versus Roman, and it's like Rock is like, no, I did this for my boy Cody is gonna take my place, Cody is going to go and face you, and he's gonna beat you at Mania. To me, it's like that makes more sense, because then we're still getting The Rock. If they don't have Roman, if Australia for some reason didn't care about not having Roman, they're paying for The Rock, which might be a step up from having Roman. And then it's an easy way to get Cody back at Roman, without having to win the Royal Rumble. And then also if you add in Nick Aldis getting involved, another layer to the story between Nick Aldis and Roman and the bloodline. You don't like it?
No, I like it, but it just, we're going through a lot of hoops.
I don't
And
feel like that is, though. It's just because I explained it.
no, I get it. I it's not that I don't get it. I do like it. My thing is that it's the fighting on behalf. I don't think Cody would want The Rock to fight on his behalf.
Well, not necessarily, but I just mean, like, maybe it's like the stipulation or something, like whoever wins the Elimination Chamber is the number one contender, right? Like, Cody could even be in the match with The Rock. The Rock can then be like, forfeit his decision, the time, and be like, okay, Cody, you go for it. You know what I mean? Because then it's going to be like, Roman doesn't want to face Cody, so he's going to be wanting to make sure that Cody does not win the Royal Rumble. Seeing that, The Rock's going to be like, what the hell? And then he's going to want to do what he can to help Cody to make sure he can go back and finish the story. To me, I don't think that's like a bad idea. It's not necessarily being like, oh, let me help you because you need the help. But that's why I was saying, like, in the Elimination Chamber, we could see Roman throw in Solo or Jimmy, and then The Rock can be like, okay, we see that you're trying to stack the cards against everybody because you're trying to cheat the system, so you're going to try to make sure that one of your guys wins so you don't have a match at Mania. But this way, it could be like The Rock's like, no, I'm going to make sure one of us wins, and then it ends up being like he helps Cody win. And it's like, that's the only way that Cody will have help. It's not like anyone's going to come out and like interfere on his behalf for, in the match at Mania. But to me, I would be okay with that being the way that he gets back at Roman, because I don't really want him to win the Rumble again.
No, I don't want Cody Rhodes to win the Rumble. It does not make sense for him to win the Rumble. It makes more sense for CM Punk to win the Rumble, and I don't even really want that.
See, The Rock being the referee. So, but that's what I'm saying is like something like that where it's like he as long as if he was the referee, as long as he doesn't actually impact the result of the match, because then you don't want there to be an asterisk next to Cody
Yeah.
winning the title. You know what I mean? So that's why I was saying, like, if we're going to believe, which it looked like it, that The Rock is going to be wrestling in a match, I don't think people would really complain if it wasn't at Mania and it happened at Elimination Chamber in an Elimination Chamber match, because that's going to be better, obviously, than a standard match at Mania. Then we still get to see Cody versus Roman part 2 with The Rock involved. And then The Rock could still potentially be at Mania. And then
I
maybe he
like
comes
that.
out and celebrates with Cody or something. You know what I mean? So it's like you're still getting him and Roman, but like he knows his time has passed, so he's not really going to be like the head of the table by dethroning him.
Cody Rhodes is the head of the table.
I mean, if it's not going to be Solo, then yeah. So that to me, I would be more on board with that because I don't want the Rock versus Roman at Mania. I don't like Cody already said in an interview, like if it's a triple threat match, he's down. If he doesn't get his match at Mania against Roman, he's down. I'm like, come on, don't. Like,
He's too good of a guy.
I
He really
know.
is just too good of a guy.
I think he's just thankful to be in the position that he's in because he always dreamt about being in this position, and the fact that it's actually happening. And a lot of it is, I mean, all of it is because of the hard work that he's put into it. I think he's just like along for the ride, and he knows that he will be champion at one point. So he's not stressing if it's now or if it's in 2 years. But I feel like in a way, you got to strike while the iron's hot, and you
You
can't just
do.
keep waiting and waiting and waiting to let Cody do it. And I think people are so invested in Cody doing like winning against Roman that you can't wait for 2 more years, or you can't wait until SummerSlam. Like it has to be Roman and it has to be at WrestleMania.